Hello dear learners, this is Dr. Upasna Sharma, and in this video I am going to tell you about the process of sampling. In order to collect data for any research problem, a researcher has to sample the concerned population because some populations are so large that their study would be expensive in terms of time, money, effort and manpower. So, sampling is such a procedure by which a relatively small number of individuals or measures of individuals, objects, or events is selected and analyzed in order to find out something about the entire population from which it was selected. So, sampling means measuring a small portion of something and then making a general statement about the whole thing. Dear learners, before studying sampling in detail, I want to tell you about some important terms like sample, sample size, sample frame, and population. So, what do you mean by a population? Population means any collection of specified group of human beings or of non-human entities such as objects, educational institutions, time units or geographical areas. A population containing a finite number of individuals is called as finite population, and a population with infinite number of members is known as infinite population. So, second term is sample. Sample means the representative proportion of the population. A sample is a group of people who have been selected from a larger population to provide data to the researcher. Another term is sample size. Sample size means the number of population members that are included in the sample. After that comes sampling frame. Dear learners, sampling frame means an up-to-date list of all the units in the population. So when we are talking about the process of sampling, one should know about these terms like sample, sample size, population and sampling frame. Now let's start with the detail of sampling. There are 4 steps involved in the process of sampling. First of all, defining the population. Secondly, listing the population. Third is selecting a representative sample. And fourth is obtaining an adequate data. In order to obtain a representative sample, a researcher needs to define the population properly. If a population is not properly defined, a researcher does not know what units to consider while selecting the sample. After that, in order to select a sample from any given population, it is also necessary to have a complete, accurate and up-to-date list of all the units in the population, which is known as sampling frame. After defining a population and listing all the units, a researcher needs to select a sample of units from the sampling frame. Such a process is called as sampling. Dear learners, a small sample is often satisfactory in an intensive laboratory experiment in which greater precision is desired. But if a greater precision of result in an investigation is needed, the sample should be larger. If the differences between the variables under study are large, or when variables are highly correlated, a relatively small samples can be used because greater precision is not needed. If the differences are small, a greater precision is needed to locate them, and so larger samples are needed. So, adequacy of a sample depends upon our knowledge of the population as well as upon the method used in drawing the sample. So, students, 4 things are to be taken care of while selecting a representative sample out of a population. First is defining the population, second listing the population, third selecting a representative sample, and fourth obtaining an adequate sample. Now, methods of sampling. Students, as you can see on the screen, there are 2 major methods of sampling. First is probability sampling method and second is non-probability sampling method. Let's discuss them one by one. Let's start with probability sampling technique. Probability sampling means the type of sampling in which units of a population are not selected at the discretion of the researcher. A researcher cannot select the sample deliberately, but he or she has to use some procedures which ensures that every unit of a population has one fixed probability of being included in the sample. So the most important requirement of probability sampling is that everyone in the population has a known and equal chance of getting selected. In this sampling, a sample from a larger population is chosen using a method based on the theory of probability. Dear learners, as you can see on the screen that there are four main techniques which are used for a probability sample. First is simple random sampling, second stratified random sampling, third cluster sampling, and fourth one is systematic sampling. So let's start with simple random sampling. Dear learners, as the name suggests, it is a completely random method of selecting the sample. In this type of sampling, we can assign numbers to the individuals and then randomly choose them from those numbers through an automated process. In simple random sampling, selection of units from the population is done in such a manner that every unit in the population has an equal chance of being chosen. For this, a researcher may use a lottery method to draw a simple random sample. We can say a lucky draw method and use of random number tables is also there. Dear learners, if a very small group is involved, a coin may be flipped to select the sample by assigning head or tail to a unit. So simple random sampling is one of the most easy method of drawing a sample from any population. After this, second one is stratified random sampling, in which a larger population can be divided into different strata by some characteristics, and from each of the smaller homogeneous groups a researcher can draw a predetermined number of units randomly. Students, some usual stratification factors are gender, age, socio-economic status, educational background, residence, occupation, religion, caste, or general intelligence, etc. In simpler words, we can say in a stratified random sampling, population is divided into strata or small groups, and a researcher can select his or her sample from each of these groups randomly. Now, the third type of probability sampling is cluster sampling. This type of sampling is used when the population under study is infinite, where a list of units of the population doesn't exist, and when the geographical distribution of units is scattered. So the method of sampling which we consider is called as cluster sampling. In this sampling, we choose naturally existing clusters. For example, if we have to conduct a study on students of class 10th, so a researcher will select the sample of students of class 10th not from the schools one by one, but in bunches of class 10th from a few schools at random. Dear students, sometimes a cluster sampling approach is combined with random sampling. So there are stages in sampling procedures. This is called as multi-stage sampling. In the first stage, we select clusters randomly, and after that, in second stage, from those clusters, we select some units randomly. So this is called as multi-stage. Next type of sampling is systematic sampling. It is a type of sampling in which we make a list of all the units and choose every nth individual to be a part of the sample. For example, if we have to choose 50 students out of a list of 500 students, So after dividing 500 by 50, we will get 10 as the size of the interval, and we will choose every 10th individual and will get a list with the numbers 10, 20, 30, 40 and so on. Systematic sampling is an extended implementation of the same old probability technique in which each member of the group is selected at regular periods to form a sample, and there is an equal opportunity for every member of a population to be selected using this sampling technique. Dear students, in case of systematic sampling, a frame of population or accurate list of population is available. So learners, these were the main techniques used for getting a probability sample. Now we will discuss non-probability sampling technique. Non-probability sampling refers to the sampling process in which the samples are selected for a specific purpose with a predetermined basis of selection. There is unequal chance of being included in the sample for different units, and the sample is not a proportion of the population, and there is no system in selecting the sample. The selection depends upon the situation only. Students, in non-probability sampling, units are selected at the discretion of the researcher, and such samples use human judgment in selection of units and have no theoretical basis for estimating population characteristics. Non-probability sampling has further subtypes. First is convenient sampling, second one is judgmental sampling, third is snowball sampling, and fourth is quota sampling. Let's start with convenient sampling. Convenient sampling means selecting those units that are easiest to obtain for your sample. For example, if the researcher selects those units in the sample who are conveniently available and willing to cooperate for providing information, then it will be called as convenient sampling. Convenient sampling is also called as incidental or volunteer sampling. Now, the second type of non-probability sampling technique is judgmental sampling. When a researcher chooses his sample on the basis of his own knowledge, experience and judgment, then that process of drawing a sample is called as judgmental sampling. Dear students, judgmental sampling is also called as purposive sampling, and such a sample is arbitrarily selected because there is good evidence that it is going to be a representative of the total population. For example, if we have to select a sample of 200 blind students, then a researcher may exercise his own judgment based on experience for including a given student in the sample from a population of students. So we can say in judgmental sampling, the choice of sample items depends primarily on the judgment of the researcher, and the researcher determines and includes those items in the sample which he or she thinks are most typical of the universe with regard to the characteristics of the research problem. Now the next type of non-probability sampling is snowball sampling. It refers to identifying someone who meets the criteria for inclusion in the study. Then a selection of additional respondents is based on referrals from the initial respondent. So it is purely based on referrals, and this sampling technique can go on and on just like a snowball, increasing in size till the time a researcher has enough data to analyze, to draw conclusions, can help in making informed decisions. After snowball sampling, the last type is quota sampling. Quota sampling means sample is formed on the basis of specific attributes, and this sample will have the same attributes that are found in the total population from which it was drawn. Suppose we want to select 100 students for our sample, then we might say that the sample should be according to the quota, like 50% boys, 50% girls. Then among the boys, 20% college students, 40% plus 2 students, 30% high school students, and 10% elementary school students, and a different or the same quota may be fixed for the girls. After fixing such quota, we can go on data collection from first 100 students that we are able to contact and get cooperation from. So this type of sampling is called as quota sampling. So students, I hope all these points are clear to you. In this video, we studied about the sampling technique and its two types, probability sampling techniques and non-probability sampling techniques in detail. Thank you.